Verstappen stays with Red Bull. We get real-time proof of why Formula One can feel so complicated, and 2020 event times are officially released. I'm your host, Cranky Yankee F1, and welcome to the second week of January's rundown of Formula One news. Let's get started. While Ferrari secure Leclerc in a lengthy contract, Red Bull also secure their own driver of the future in Max Verstappen. His deal is inked through the 2023 season. And this is great news all around for everyone. It's good to get Max off of the table and make sure no other teams are talking to him. And while talks of contracts, or at least the confirmation of those contracts, isn't the most exciting thing to talk about in the world, Verstappen's is unique simply because he did extend till 2023. And we have to consider one major thing when we think about this. A persistent storyline and at the center of the Red Bull performance was Honda. What is the engine manufacturer going to do for Red Bull beyond 2021? As of right now, Honda has only publicly agreed to a deal through 2021 that will provide engines to AlphaTauri and Red Bull. Considering this isn't Honda's first rodeo and they've been around the block in Formula One, it's left me scratching my head why they've waited to commit or even mention links to a probable extension beyond 2021. And let's face it, there's no way Max Verstappen would actually agree to any deal beyond that, knowing that there's question marks hanging over the engine manufacturing department. It does let the air out of the balloon a bit for me, but nonetheless, Max has confirmed through 2023 with Red Bull. And sure, for Red Bull's sake, it's not going to get any better. They're not going to find any other better drivers in the next few years, barring, and this is being generous, but a falling out between Vettel and Ferrari, which brings the German back to where he once saw glory, 4 times in fact. I can only speculate, of course, but I'm sure that Verstappen was given the special pitch, the one with all the bells and whistles, and likely even included the name Adrian Newey. And if I'm Horner or Marco, well, yeah, now certainly would be a good time to actually start mentioning that. Let's not forget Newey's history with ground effects. Or even more interesting, his latest work on working with road cars with ground effects. He's still credited with building the first road car that actually features the technology. He's only advanced this and taken this a step further with all of his work on the Aston Martin Valkyrie. Even if Newey pitched Verstappen himself, it's still a large gap in Verstappen's career that has a question mark on it. It's more than likely that Honda's involvement beyond 2021 is contingent upon the budget caps and all the engine regulations that are set to hit for the 2021 regulations. No matter the results or promising season they saw, especially at the end of 2019, you gotta remember they still been burned before and recently. They don't want to go through that again. With a full year under their belt in 2021, I feel like they think that that's a fair amount of time to assess what's the viability long term in this sport. And I think Verstappen sees it this way as well, and rightfully so. He'd know better, of course, considering he knows more information than we do, but he's only offered strong positive words about the partnership whenever he speaks about it. And he also calls out the fact that the 2019 season was absent of any Honda-driven retirements. He went on to say, "This year, we've never retired because of a Honda issue. If you want to fight for a world championship, that is what you need. I am very, very impressed with the way they are working." Ultimately, this provides a lot of upside for Verstappen, and he's got the aero gods in his favor. Knowing how savvy his camp has been navigating the Formula One minefield, he'll likely be prepared should Honda back out. But even with their history in Formula One, I take their hesitation very, very seriously, especially given Verstappen's lengthy commitment and the fact that he's delivering multiple race wins in the 2019 season. While we're on the 2019 season, Pat Symonds, Chief Technical Officer of Formula One, admits front wing designs for 2019 were, quote, done in a bit of a hurry, in a discussion today from the Autosport International 2020 conference. And a bit of backstory, if you remember last year, there was a late push to get the 2019 last-minute front wing changes through so more could be learned about their impact as to influence the 2021 regulation changes. The objective of the front wing designs were to allow trailing cars to be closer while mitigating the negative aerodynamic implications. Addressing the audience, Symonds had this to say regarding the impact of the wing and if there were any lessons learned so we could see closer racing in 2021. He said, "In shaping these 2021 regs, probably not as much as I would have hoped for. They were done in a bit of a hurry, and with the benefit of hindsight, I wouldn't have done them." First, the mess with the tires, and now learning even at the highest levels of Formula One technical oversight, there's this sloppiness occurring. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth overall when I think about the 2021 regulations we're about to be watching. I was cautiously optimistic at first, waiting for things to be more firmly announced and confirmed. But even when Symonds now coming clean saying things are being rushed for the sake of 2021, it really does layer back on my skepticism. I'll add though that you should take all of this information and go look up these stories yourself. As for me, it just looks like a major missed opportunity that could have benefited Formula One's stated objective behind the 2020 regulations themselves in the first place. If it makes you feel any better, Pat Symonds closed with this. So I think we could have done that whole exercise a bit better, but I don't regard that in any way as a precedent for what we've done in 2021. Whatever you say, Pat, I trust you. In the next 2 topics, we'll be focusing on the 2020 season. Exactly 1 month ago today, the Formula One teams all voted to use the 2019 tire compounds instead of Pirelli's new 2020 compounds they had been developing for months. Considering all of the technical regulations that are carrying over from the 2019 season, it makes intuitive sense that the quicker 2020 cars are going to add incremental energy levels than Pirelli had initially modeled for in those 2019 compounds. Pirelli boss Mario Isola spoke about this recently. His plan is to increase the tire pressure to offset the potential rubber strain, but he readily acknowledges that this doesn't solve the problem, referring to the solution as, quote, the only tool, end quote. He went on to say this. In a condition of consistent technical regulation, because the technical regulations for this year are no different compared to last year, the rate of development is measuring 1 second to 1.5 seconds per lap. In one season, that is the improvement in lap time, so I can expect that we will have another step up in 2020. That means some more downforce, that means more energy, probably if we have to predict something, it could be more overheating maybe. Now, personally, I do think this is going to be an issue worth watching. One benefit I'm sure the teams considered is keeping the tires consistent eliminates the learning curve that accompanies each new compound produced. As you remember, some teams struggled more than others getting the tires up to temperature properly. There may be no advantage to slower cars or cars that were consistently poor with their tires, I'm looking at you, Haas, but there is a huge advantage to teams like Mercedes who had a strong handle on how to get their tires working. And adding a bit of my opinion in here, this does throw a minor curveball to the likes of Ferrari if they do move forward with their aero changes that reportedly would favor a setup focusing on shifting downforce back to plant the rear axle. What's for sure is Mario Isola is historically conservative regarding Pirelli's expectations and their tire performance. If he's already raising his hand in the red flag right now, it seems noteworthy and something we should keep an eye on to monitor come March 15th in Melbourne. And finally, on a lighter note, 2020 Formula One Grand Prix event times have officially been announced. I've been waiting personally to report these, more as a symbolic confirmation, if anything, that the new circuits, Zandvoort and Vietnam, are on schedule to hit their target complete dates. I'll throw the dates up on the screen, which have been confirmed. You can also get, if you want like a simple Google sheet, that link will be below in the description. I actually made that for you guys in case you just wanted to keep it all digital in one place, very easy to read and just easy to follow. The only missing piece here is Japan. I'll report that when I have it in the sheet, and then also I'll send a note out to you guys. But the only changes to note from the existing Grand Prix that we actually have on schedule is the fact that Coda and Silverstone, both of those stops will be an hour later this year. And again, if you want the digital version, you can just get that in the link below. That's it for Formula One news this week. I'm your host, Cranky Yankee F1, keeping you up to speed this offseason. Look out for a new shorter format with higher production value on next week's content. I'm going to be trying some new stuff out. I really do think you guys will actually like this, so just let me know and keep an eye out for that. And as always, of course, please leave feedback below how I can improve this. You guys know I get to all that. I try to respond to all of you. And, my biggest goal is to make this enjoyable for you and create a better experience. So hopefully you like the new graphics, but let me know below, and I'll see you guys very, very soon.